After these things I looked, and behold, a door standing open in heaven. Immediately I was in the Spirit. And behold, a throne set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. Revelation 4:1-2.
The throne room of heaven, from Revelation chapter 4. A throne that shines like gemstones, these strange winged creatures that are covered in eyes, a sea that looks like it's made of crystal, and just this unending chorus of worship.
Okay, so let's start where John does. We're walking right through that door and approaching the throne, which is the absolute center of this entire vision, just radiating God's ultimate power and sovereignty.
Now, that open door isn't just a physical entrance. It's totally symbolic. I mean, think about it. Who calls himself the door in the Gospel of John? Jesus does. This is him and his prophetic role, the one who opens up the way to God and reveals all these divine mysteries to us.
So flashing out from the throne itself, you have lightning and thunder. This imagery is supposed to take you right back to Mount Sinai, where God revealed his law. It screams awesome power and authority. This is the raw, prophetic voice of God declaring his power, and it's a message that's just impossible to ignore.
And then, right in front of the throne, there's this sea of glass, as clear as crystal. Now, usually in the Bible, the sea represents chaos, turmoil, judgment, all that messy stuff. But here in heaven, that chaotic sea has been totally transformed. It's solid, it's calm, it's perfectly clear. This is a powerful picture of chaos being completely conquered and replaced by perfect peace in God's presence.
And what's really interesting here is that John doesn't try to describe the one on the throne with a human face or body. Instead, what he portrays is this overwhelming brilliance, the flash of gemstones, the raw power of a thunderstorm. This imagery is meant to transport you right back to Mount Sinai, where God revealed his law in thunder and lightning. It is a vision of pure, uncontainable power and sovereignty. And here's a really powerful key, one that unlocks so much of this chapter. It's the threefold role of Jesus Christ. As prophet, he reveals God's truth. As priest, he is the sacrifice for sin. And as king, he is the eternal ruler. Keep these three roles in your head because you're going to see them pop up everywhere. And you can see that key at work brilliantly right here in the description of the throne. The crystal clear jasper, that points to the absolute purity of God's truth. That's the prophet. The sardius, which is this fiery red gem, signifies sacrifice and redemption. That's the role of the priest. And then wrapping it all is this emerald rainbow, a symbol of God's promise and covenant mercy, just like the one he showed Noah. That is kingly mercy. Prophet, priest, and king, all right there in the description of the throne. All right, so if the throne is the dead center, let's kind of zoom out to the very next circle in this vision. We're going to look at the figures that are immediately surrounding the throne, the four living creatures. Now, these creatures, they aren't just some bizarre monsters John made up. No, these are cherubim, and they're a direct echo of the creatures that the prophet Ezekiel saw in his vision of God's throne. John's first readers would have instantly made that connection. And their features, being covered in eyes, having 6 wings, are deeply symbolic. So let's break this down for a second. The number 4 in the Bible, that almost always points to universal extent. You know, the 4 corners of the earth, the 4 winds. These creatures represent all of creation. Being covered in eyes, that symbolizes God's complete knowledge, his constant awareness. Nothing is ever hidden from him. And the 6 wings, well, 6 is the number of work, pointing to the tireless, constant work of God in salvation and protection. And just look at this, because there are so many layers here. Each face gives us this multifaceted portrait of Jesus, almost like the 4 Gospels do. The lion, that represents his kingship, a huge theme in Matthew. The ox, an animal of service and sacrifice, points to his priestly role, which is so central to Mark. The face of a man highlights his perfect humanity, something Luke really emphasizes. And the soaring eagle represents his divinity, a key theme in the Gospel of John. Together, they paint this complete picture of who Christ is. Okay. Now let's widen the lens one more time. We're moving out to the final group in this heavenly court, the 24 elders. So positioned around the creatures are 24 other thrones, with 24 elders sitting on them. And notice what they're wearing. These brilliant white robes, a classic symbol of purity and righteousness, and golden crowns, representing the authority they've been given to reign with Christ. So why the number 24? Well, like everything else here, it is not random. It's actually a simple but really powerful equation. The first 12, That represents the 12 tribes of Israel, the entire foundation of God's people from the Old Covenant. And then you have the other 12, which represents the 12 apostles of the church, the foundation for God's people in the New Covenant. So you put them together, 12 plus 12, and you get 24. And this is so much more than just math. It's this beautiful, unified picture of the complete family of God from all of history, Old and New Testament saints, all gathered together as a kingdom of priests in heavenly worship. Okay, so we've met all the players, right? We've seen the throne, the creatures, the elders. But they're not just sitting there like a static painting. They're all building towards one single unified purpose: the worship of the Creator. And this worship happens in this beautiful, cascading sequence. It starts with the 4 living creatures, the ones closest to the throne. Day and night they cry out, and their song is a direct quote from the prophet Isaiah's own vision of heaven. It's a declaration of God's absolute holiness, his eternal nature. And just watch what happens next. In response to the creature's song, the 24 elders, who represent all of redeemed humanity, they fall down in complete submission. And they do something absolutely incredible. They take their own golden crowns, their own symbols of authority and achievement, and they cast them right before the throne. I mean, think about that. It is an act of total surrender.
So all of these symbols we've seen, the throne, the elders, the creatures, they're not just static decorations in a room. They are all building towards one single purpose, the ultimate worship of the Creator. And this worship happens in this beautiful cascading sequence. First, the 4 creatures, the ones closest to the throne, they kick it all off, crying out, "Holy, holy, holy." In response, the 24 elders, who represent all of humanity, they fall down in complete submission. Then they cast their crowns, their own symbols of authority and achievement, right before the throne. And finally, they all declare why God is worthy of all this adoration.
And their declaration gets to the absolute heart of the whole matter. You are worthy because you created all things. That's it. That's the bedrock reason for everything we've just seen. The foundation for all worship and glory and power isn't something that was earned or won. It's based on the simple, staggering fact that God is the Creator. He is the source of all existence.
So the crucial point of this whole magnificent vision is really this. The ultimate purpose of all redeemed creation, represented by those elders, is to joyfully surrender all of their own authority, their own little crowns, back to the one who is the source of it all. It's a picture of reality put back in the right order, with the Creator at the absolute center.